Welcome to SolidCAM Professor. I'm Sydney, your SolidCAM Professor, with one of many recordings available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In this recording, we'll be showing you the first set of operations that we have over here. If we take a look at our toolpath in our first operation, you can see that this is a balanced rough operation working on both sides of the part, both on top and on the bottom of the part. In our next operation, you'll see that we'll be doing the face of the part. And after that, we'll be doing rest on these areas over here. The next operation, we'll be working on the groove, and then we'll be working on this groove over here. Whereas in our next operation, we'll be working on this groove over here. Whereas in this next operation, we'll be actually working on finish on the entire outside of that part over there. The next operation, as you can see on the part, working on these threads over here. And then after that, we've inserted an MCO operation. If we were to open up the MCO operation, you can see that we have our turret over here, and we want to actually move it from one position to the next. Now, at the end over here, we've inserted an MCO operation. If I were to open up the MCO operation and go into turret, you can see that we'll be actually moving the device. We have the device and we have a movement. If you take a look at the movement, you'll see that we'll be taking our bottom turret and moving it back 215 millimeters. Let's take a look for a moment at the actual machine simulation. And as you can see over here, we have this, which was started out over here in this position over here. And since we want to work from a different position now, we want to get this out of the way. So to do that, we've actually just told it to move it all the way to 215, getting it out of the way, allowing the next operation to work without any interference. Now, let's take a look now at the first operation that we've done here, which will be the actual balance rough of this part itself over here. If we open up the option over here, we can see that since we're working in balance rough, we have two submachines that we have to work with. The master submachine using the upper turret, in this case with the main spindle, and the slave submachine using the lower turret with the main spindle. We can take a look at our geometry over here, and you can see that we'll be working on the outside of the part itself. Now also, when we go into tools, you can see that we have our tool for the main submachine, using it on the proper side over here, showing exactly where it's coming from. And if we go into our slave tool, you can see that's also coming from the bottom over here. Now let's just go now into our technology. In the technology itself, you can see what mode we're working in. We're working on long external, and we're also doing the rough. Now, before we continue on to the next area of rough, let's take a look at this area. Now this, since we're working in balance mode, we have two options of working in balance mode. We can work in trailing, where one tool follows the other tool working on different levels, or they both work simultaneously, taking the exact same cut on both sides. In this particular case, we're working using the trailing option. Let's take a look now at the simulation. And in the simulation, we'll be using the option of turning. Now, also in turning simulation, you can see that we've also made it a lot easier. First of all, you can actually just move it over here. We can also zoom in and out. A lot easier than we were able to do that in the past. So I'll leave it at this position over here. Just slow this down a bit, and you can see exactly what's happening with our balance roughing in this particular operation. Now, the next operation will be doing the face over here. If we were to actually go in and open up our operation, you can see that we've chosen our geometry as shown over here, working on the face itself. And of course, you're using the lower turret and with the main spindle in this particular case. Next, we have our next operation over here, and that is actually working in this area, cleaning the rest material over here. If we were to open up the operation itself again, you can take a look at the geometry, and that geometry includes this area over here. In our next operation, we're actually working on this groove over here. And if we go into this operation, you can see the geometry, this area over here, using the proper grooving tool that we need for this particular operation as shown over here. In our next operation, we'll be doing a finish on the outside of the part. And if we take again a look at our geometry, you can see that we have our geometry over here going around the part. If we take a look at our tool, first of all, we're working on our lower turret with the main spindle. And again, you can see the tool that we'll be using in this particular operation over here. Next, we have the threading. The threading is this area over here. And if we go into our operation, you can see the geometry working across from here to here using the proper tool, in this particular case, the thread mill tool for this operation. For more recordings on SolidCAM Professor, please go to our website www.solidcam.com and look for the tab of SolidCAM Professor. Thank you for joining us on SolidCAM Professor. Take care and have a nice day.